Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. Still here, but that is supposed to be some cool mountains. Anyway, right now we have quite a lot of crypto news to cover because the situation is it's been interesting. One of the craziest pieces of news that you guys have to hear about is what happened to Binance. Yesterday, the entire market crashed a little bit. Hopefully you guys noticed it. It crashed down like $1,500 or so on the Bitcoin price. And the main reason for that was forced liquidations on Binance for the Australian pairs. And simply put, some people, Australian users were incorrectly classed as wholesale investors over on Binance, and as per the regulations in Australia, they were required to inform the users that they were just closing down the positions. Anyway, Ran from Crypto Banter and a couple of others were quick to note over on Twitter that this could have been a crazy buying opportunity if the prices stayed down or rebounds, I guess, quickly from that perspective. But I meant to say the prices stayed down mostly so. Looking at it right now, Bitcoin is still at 23.8 thousand, and I think it fell as low as 23.4 or something like that. But many expected to bounce right back, which it didn't. However, if you guys are still asking for my honest opinion, even though Bitcoin is looking a lot weaker than it was quite recently, it is still... So don't know exactly where I stopped there, but I wanted to say, right now, even though things are not looking as bullish as before, because we've fallen down a couple of times from 25,000, it's showing a little bit of weakness. I think that this move towards the downside was forced mostly by Binance. Big numbers we're talking, but I do believe still it's going to rebound off of 25,000 yet again, or potentially break through this time. Anyway, we are focusing on that $25,000 per Bitcoin level is the most important part. And I honestly think that was the most important news of the last 24 hours, the whole Binance debacle. And I've been seeing a lot of news regarding like the IMF and the BIS, and we covered parts of that before. We've had Edward Snowden. Hopefully you guys know him. He's a pretty well-known figure. He is firing back at the BIS chief amid claims that crypto has lost to fiat. I mean, as of this point, I'd like to say that indeed crypto is not as well used as fiat. We can all agree to that. But the BIS chief has his own agenda, so I don't buy into that. If a person that has all the benefit from an industry is negative against an industry that's literally hurting his bread, I don't need to take that guy too seriously. It's like saying, okay, there's too many analogies here, but let's say a farmer, for example, is really not against them banning his animals or banning his way of growing life. You know, you can understand that a mail sorter, right, a person that sorts the mail, for example, would be very much against robots taking over his job because it takes over his job. It's very simply put. And so for the BIS chief, the center of money, to be against some other sorts of currency taking over and them losing the control, yeah, it just sounds like the most logical thing for me. Now, it was interesting, however, to find out what the IMF has been onto. The IMF has unveiled crypto plan, advising against legal tender status. Global lender recommends countries craft crypto policies that safeguard monetary sovereignty and stability. All I can say about this, and this is bluntly put, but screw the IMF for the way in which they approach things for advising against legal tender status, but pro IMF for saying, hey, you know, craft crypto policies, full stop. Safeguard monetary sovereignty and stability, 50-50. I mean, the monetary sovereignty just kind of is not something I necessarily connect with. Stability, certainly. You know, monetary stability is certainly important for people to live their normal lives, but the sovereignty, it just depends on how far they want to go with all that. And I do believe they want to take it one step further than I would have taken it. And the fact that they basically want to, look at this, right? The top recommendation was to safeguard monetary sovereignty and stability by strengthening monetary policy frameworks, which all sounds good, maybe, and do not grant crypto assets official currency or legal tender status. So all I can say about that is, screw you, IMF. I think you are wrong with this advice, and I don't think you should put it out if it's stupid like this. But anyway, yeah, and like we saw, same article, IMF calls for coordinated action over fears crypto could undermine the global monetary system. And very often it is exactly that. It's the fear of taking over what's already established, like I also believe is going on with the BIS chief. It's the fear of them taking over, and so you want to slap it down to the ground now that you have the power to do so. Anyway, there was a little bit of stuff regarding XRP and Ripple that I wanted to quickly cover. One part in terms of lawsuit update, just very small. There was Rosalind Layton from a contributor to Forbes who pretty recently here wrote a motion to intervene to basically get some more information regarding the William Hillman documents in the Ripple case. And there's just one little extra piece right now, which you can see right here. In the lawsuit between Ripple Labs and the SEC seeking public access to the Hillman speech documents, empower oversight, whistleblowers, and research, this government institution, or government watchdog, I should say, sorry, is now also backing this up. They have expressed its support for this specific motion to get those Hillman documents out there for the public, basically. And that's about it. It's not that big a news drop, but it's something good to see. And especially the title got me quite hyped up. Government watchdog, who's already been looking into the SEC for a little while, is showcasing some support to get these documents out to us. And here, XRP sees extra bullish prospects as developers reveal a cross-chain bridge to drive interoperability. It's coming. So Emi Yoshikawa from Ripple said, check out XLS38D, a standard proposal for cross-chain bridge. This would significantly expand potential use cases for the XP Ledger. Community members, please share your feedback. And so, as you can see right here from Mayuka Vadari, he said, we just published an official XPL standards spec for cross-chain bridges, which is huge for the XP Ledger if this continues on. Check it out and let me know if you have any thoughts. And Wrath of Kahneman said, and witness server, this is just something specific about the code, is the new term used discussing sidechains, correct? Federating nodes deprecated, thanks. And that's just a shift in terminology is a question about it. Some things could drastically change for the XRP Ledger in due time, though. So again, federators were completely different. They work differently. And so now this is regarding witness servers. But it's also now said by FlowFlow that the witness servers on the XP Ledger can even earn XRP fees. Since submitting a signature requires submitting a transaction fee and paying a fee, supporting rewards for signatures is an important requirement. The reward could be higher than the fee, providing an incentive for running a witness server, because that means they could, theoretically speaking, get paid to do so. That could be peculiar. Anyway, this just opens up a lot of possibilities for XRP ledgers, like expansion towards the mainframe, so to speak, because this allows for more interoperability, as that's the main purpose for bridges, right? It's being able to go from one part to another part via the bridge. Now, anyway, there's actually quite a lot going on this bridge spectrum. We've talked before about actually getting some sort of connection with, or I guess become Ethereum compatible, so to speak, EVM compatible. So you can see here the proposed XRPL cross-chain ledger would connect two blockchains, the locking chain and the issuing chain, also known as the main chain and a side chain. To bridge tokens from XRP to other networks, users will have to lock tokens in a smart contract on the XRP ledger, and the same amount of asset is then minted on another network, which often works in the form of wrapping. We've talked about that before, but it could also be done in different manners, I guess. The proposal also described 8 transactions that can be conducted on the XRP ledger to ensure the safe and efficient movement of assets between XRP ledger and associated sidechains. Now, Vadari has indicated last August that they were working on launching sidechains that would run parallel to the XP Ledger mainnet, if approved by the XP community. An Ethereum-compatible sidechain for the XP Ledger went live in October of 2022, but it's not really that big of a deal just quite yet, but that's where a lot of the NFT excitement came from as well. That said, developers have highlighted some drawbacks that may come about if the new proposal is implemented. Handling fee escalation, failed transactions, and servers falling behind were much more complex. One such drawbacks was cited. And again, every one of these advancements has their negative side as well, which is something to always think about. And because we first of all talked about the fact that no incentive is the best incentive, so having an incentive is not necessarily nice. But a second very most important part is if your main focus is payments, then what exactly do you need all the rest for? And that's, again, a little bit of a deeper question, because a sidechain can also be very nice for all these entities that do not want to transact on the main chain, but still use this technology. And there comes a little moral, ethical, whatever question of what exactly is the right thing to do. In a similar sense, we talked about Bitcoin ordinals recently regarding the fact that NFTs on Bitcoin or whole movies on Bitcoin and whatnot empowers the true vision of freedom. It's true. But on the opposite end, even Satoshi Nakamoto himself on the forums back in 2010 or so said, it's not the main point. So we should have the Bitcoin main network, so to speak, and then have all this Bitcoin DNS and whatever, at that point I think BitDNS, which then turned into another crypto, of which I forgot the name as of this point, but they should be separated because it's just not the purpose. And even though it can work, it's physically possible, and we could, why would we? And that's a question we've seen often in very other industries as well. We have the power to do something. Does that mean we should do it? That's something I sometimes think about this as well. It's bullish news because it's available and it's a possibility. But it's not so good in the sense that we don't know if this is really something that we need, depending on how it's going to be utilized, however. I guess to have the option is always a good thing. Anyway, last but not least, I just wanted to quickly mention, Germany's second largest bank is to offer crypto custody service to institutionals. So if you thought, oh, the Binance news is bad, or oh, this news regarding the IMF or the BIS is bad, just know that in general, things are only getting better for the crypto space. There's little negative Nancy's in the midst, but it's generally speaking getting better. And I also wanted to quickly give a little jab at Coinbase for actually launching their own layer 2, showing a lot of faith in Ethereum, but I'm going to talk about that later in another in-depth video. Little fun fact, I bought some Ethereum, I bought some Optimism on which this relies yesterday. However, I don't know if I bought it before or after the pump. It didn't pump that much, but it's just funny that I never really buy Optimism. And yesterday I was just like, oh, wait a minute, I have some USDT left, let me buy some tokens. And it was Optimism, but I didn't really take a look at the price. I just wanted to buy it. So it could have been that it was up like 15% or so. I didn't check. It's just a little fun fact that I bought it yesterday, and then yesterday was a crazy announcement, and I didn't see it yet even. But yeah, I'll cover that a little bit more in depth later as it's a very big deal. And yeah, there's also some other crazy stuff like Solana shutting down New York City and Miami stores, but all that in depth a little bit later. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you all again in another crypto video later today.